Good evening, everyone. Will you please stand for the presentation of the colors in our national anthem?
You may be seated. Please stand when your branch of military is recognized in this next song.
Hallelujah.
Good evening again. My name is Matt Miller, proud superintendent here at Lakota Schools. I want to welcome all of you to our second annual military commitment ceremony. We do a lot of really good things here at Lakota, and I think that this is probably one of the best things that we do as a district in addition to our graduations. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of it. I want to really quick just acknowledge our 42 seniors on stage who are going into the military. Congratulations to all of you. And I know you just did it, but at this time I'd like all of our veterans, if they could all stand at once so we can acknowledge all of you collectively. Thank you for your service. And I also know that we have active service men and women in the audience. Some of them are Lakota grads. If all the active duty members could stand. Thank you. Before we get too far, I would like to introduce some special guests in the audience. I'd like to recognize the Lakota School Board who put this on for all of us. President Julie Schaefer, Vice President Todd Parnell, Board members Kelly Casper, Linda O'Connor, and Board member Brad Lovell could not be here. His wife is having a baby, so we'll excuse that. I would also like to introduce, and I'm not sure who's here and who is not because we were kind of setting some things up, so I'm going to introduce all of them from Westchester: Ann Becker, Mark Welsh, and Lee Wong, U.S. Army retired. I'd also like to recognize from Liberty Township their trustees, Tom Farrell, Christine Malitzek, and Steve Schramm. And really quick, a great partner of the district, Joe Hinson from the Westchester Liberty Chamber Alliance. We also are going to have a change in our program. We're going to have a guest invocation person. Our Ridge principal, Ben Brown, is going to give our invocation. Ben?
Good evening. It certainly is an honor and a blessing to be here. If you'd please bow your heads in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for bringing us together on this very special, memorable time as we celebrate as a community and lift up these young men and women as they get ready to commit to a great honor and noble profession in serving in our United States military and armed forces. And Lord, we lift up our families as well, as we know it is a shared effort. And Lord, we just ask you to continue to bless these young men and women in our country and our armed services, Lord. Continue to wrap a hedge of protection around them, each and every one of them and their families, and around this great nation. All these things we ask in his name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Ben. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our special guest who will speak to our seniors. Connie Spotts has been a teacher at Lakota, certainly a parent, volunteer, super volunteer, and community member. She was also recently recognized with our District Parents Council Annual Award. She certainly left her mark on Lakota for 35 years. Connie Spotts, Lieutenant, U.S. Navy Reserve. Connie?
Good evening. I am thrilled and honored and honestly a bit surprised to be before all of you at this very special and important event. To the veterans here with boots on the ground, time at sea and in the air, all of you have served more active duty than me. So I am humbled to be before all of the veterans here this evening. I come from a long tradition of military service where all of my uncles proudly served the country primarily in the Navy. My father logged 42 years in both active and reserve naval service advancing from E1 to 06. So when the opportunity arose for me to join myself, I jumped at that chance, and I became the only member of my generation to serve. As I began the process of commissioning into the Navy, I received heavy pressure from the recruiter to go into active duty. My science knowledge and background had made me desirable to the Navy. So I had to explain to him what my first love was, teaching. And I spent 30 years doing just that. You see, my career in the United States Navy was strictly as a reservist. I was commissioned as a line officer. A reservist is someone who combines their civilian career with a military career while receiving the same training. A reservist wears the uniform and awaits the call from his or her country. In other words, reservists also sign that blank check made payable to the United States of America for the amount up to and including their life. So I joined the Navy Reserves, was sworn in by my dad, spent 6 years as a training officer and wrote curriculum for various training commands. At my first drill weekend, I met a young lieutenant and married him 8 months later, fulfilling the reason why many thought I joined the Navy, that I was an officer looking for a gentleman. Other than my faith, family, and my career in education, I am most proud of having worn the uniform of the United States Navy. Now, after many years, I look back on that opportunity and realize what my service and the service of my husband, father, family members, and all those with whom I had served has meant to our country. A free nation is dependent on those willing to serve, protect, and defend it on all fronts, land, sea, and air. Without a brave and trained fighting force led by intelligent and fearless commanders, we fall into the hands of those who wish us harm and would deny us our liberties and freedoms. Now it is your turn, young men and women of Lakota. You have worked so hard to get to this place. Perhaps you have had to improve grades or test scores, to complete stacks of applications, or practice for interviews, or decide which branch would provide the best training, or wait for acceptance letters, or even address the concerns of your own family members. Some of you have actually completed a part of your training last summer. Rest assured, even harder work lies ahead, but have no doubt you are ready for the challenge. Trust that your upbringing and your education will guide you through the physical, academic, and emotional trials in front of you. You see, young sailors, soldiers, airmen, and Marines, you are our hope. You are the hope of a nation that has relied on those that have come before you, those who have served with valor and courage, with dignity and pride, and with love of country and countrymen. Many have paid the ultimate price, made the final sacrifice. So that is how this great nation endures. And this great nation will continue to endure because now its hope rests in you. You are the hope of this community, the community that when tragedy strikes shows up for one another with a check, food, clothing, a helping hand, and even a hug. Know that your community is now proudly rallying behind you, and that we hope and pray for your safety, and we await your return back to the community that will always be there for you. And yes, there will be hugs for you too. You are the hope of your Lakota schools, where some of you may have even received your entire education. Lakota is proud to have played some part in your formation as a patriot, willing to protect our great country. Teachers and coaches have given you the skills to problem solve, to work as a unit, to respect leadership, and to understand one another's background and story. I am sure these teachers, coaches, and administrators can't wait to hear of your further achievements and adventures. Please don't be a stranger to them. You are the hope of your family. They have done their job by molding you into honorable people, people with integrity, virtue, and righteousness. Perhaps this was not the path that they had planned for you, but they respect your commitment and honor your resolve, and know they are so very, very proud of you. And parents, my heart goes out to you. And finally, you are my hope. I commend your willingness to serve, to take my place, or the place of my father, or maybe the place of one of your own family members. I am grateful for your sacrifice, being away from friends and family, enduring hardships, and learning a new way of life. I'm so very thankful to you for giving me hope. May you always be as proud of your service as I was of mine. So you see, all of us here have all of our hope placed in each and every one of you. And we know in our hearts our hope will not be shaken. And with all of our support, you will not be shaken. As you know, great sayings are often found on coffee mugs. And I have such a mug given to me by my dad. On it is the quote from President John F. Kennedy, who said, "Any man who may be asked in this century what he did to make his life worthwhile, I think can respond with a good deal of pride and satisfaction. I served in the United States Navy." So to you, Thunderhawks and Firebirds, I say, hoorah, semper fi, and fair winds and following seas. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. Wow. We will now recognize our seniors, beginning with the United States Air Force recruits.
All right, good evening, everyone. How are you? I'm Major Jason Henderson. I'm currently a faculty member down at the University of Cincinnati's Air Force ROTC detachment. And I've got the honor tonight to be able to recognize our newest Air Force recruits. And let me tell you, I'll just start by saying, you know, they say that the team you're on is bigger than the team you lead, right? So that is a testament to what we're doing here tonight, because while all of these folks here might not be coming down to see us at the University of Cincinnati, they're on Team Air Force, right? And at the end of the day, we're all on one big team. And so I'm honored to recognize them here tonight. So without further ado, I'll recognize our recruits. First one up, Catherine Harvey, Air Force ROTC. All right, next up, another Air Force ROTC scholarship winner, Ethan Noble. Next up, Air Force ROTC, Isabel Steen. I believe this is our final ROTC candidate here, and that is Alexander Strack. Right. Next up we have Mr. Nicholas Robbins. All right, and our last one is unable to make it tonight. So that concludes the Air Force side of the house. Thank you all very much.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen. My name is Staff Sergeant Shirley. I am the U.S. Army recruiter here in Westchester. I'm here to announce some of the Lakota West, Lakota East students who are planning on joining the United States Army. A lot of decisions are made based on whether they want to serve. A lot of them come from families that have served in the Army. They want to continue that tradition. Some are trying to follow a tradition of their own. Because in the Army, there is no books like math. We're not reading a book and learning how to do algebra, all right? Each team leader is going to teach this future soldier. Each future soldier will one day teach another soldier. All the way back to the Revolutionary War, we have slowly trained, whether you're a sailor, whether you're an airman, whether you're a Marine, whether you're a soldier. We're all trained by those above us. Without further ado, I'd like to just recognize some of the future soldiers of Lakota West and East. Samuel Billistis, accepted to the United States Military Academy at West Point. Next up, Grace Keith, accepted to the United States Military Academy at West Point. Congratulations. Next up, Reed Hummel. Future Ranger and Paratrooper, United States Army. Connor Iliff. Kaylin Coker. Jacob Rethman. Jeffrey Shook. Going off to be a paratrooper too. Yep. All the way. Trace Cummings. Finally, Nolan Warren. Thank you for coming. I'd like to introduce our next speaker. It's Sergeant First Class David with the Ohio National Guard.
Good evening, everyone. I am Sergeant First Class David with the Ohio National Guard. I've had the honor and privilege to be in the Liberty Township, Westchester area going on 4 years now. With the soldiers that I'm about to recognize, they have chosen the National Guard, given the fact that they are able to serve their country, the great state of Ohio, and their locals community, as well as going to their college of choice within the state. So now recognizing them, David Germano Zashvili. Faith Jims, she here? Bradley Groff. Samuel Howard. Nathan Martin. Samantha Mascara. And that concludes it for me. I'll be followed by the U.S. Marines. Sergeant Davidson.
Good evening. I'm Sergeant Davidson. I work out of the Fairfield Recruiting Station. We're missing several guys today, but it's a pleasure to introduce the few that are here. Starting with Gabriel Kane. Braden Kreiner. Dalton Rodas. And finally, Brady Lambright. And following me will be the Navy.
Hi there. I wonder if Dylan Jones and Joe Kin Phelan can come up here with me, please. Okay, so first of all, I didn't know that Lakota East and Lakota West could play nicely together. This is actually turning out very well. I was a little confused when I saw the invite, but this is one heck of a program. My name is Kevin Queen. I represent the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. I graduated from the Naval Academy class of '95 and served for 11 years as a naval officer and aviator, and had the privilege of doing so. I currently live here in Cincinnati with my family and work for Procter & Gamble. First off, I want to congratulate all the parents for the great job you did raising your children, okay? The family members, the support you must have had to have done this. I know that you know that, but I'm sure that you are so proud of them and should be. They're getting ready to embark on an incredible journey, so I want to say thanks to all of our service members or soon-to-be service members, both on the upcoming high school graduation and the journey that you're about to begin. You make us proud every day. Okay? So I have to admit, Dylan and I have been working a little bit longer. Joe and I just met tonight, so it's going to be a bit off the cuff, but it was very easy to see that both of these young men are very talented and the type people that we want to be leading our armed forces here in the next 4 years and onward. So Dylan Jones from Lakota West High School is excelled as an exceptional student athlete, as a student in the classroom. He also excelled as a football player and track star, and I just learned that he can sing, and sing darn well, by the way. But you'll look for Dylan on Saturdays in the fall. He's also going to be playing football at the Naval Academy, or Navy, and he'll be playing... He'll be playing with the teams with the likes of the talented teams of Army West Point, Air Force, Notre Dame, Tulane, and now UC is in the conference. So look for him on Saturdays playing Division I college football. And I have to say, beat Army. And then we'll get him this year. And then as I look at, I just met Joe Kinn, soon to be Joe Kinn Phelan. He is going to tackle a modest major known as nuclear engineering, one of our newer majors at the Naval Academy, and also plans to try out for the crew team. So you have two very talented, well-balanced, well-rounded student athletes that we look forward to leading our young Marines and young Navy sailors in the future. Upon graduation, they will earn a Bachelor of Science degree, ranking up with the likes of Georgia Tech, MIT, Stanford, Northwestern, Army West Point, you name it. So they will pursue that, and upon graduation, they will be commissioned as an ensign, the rank of ensign in the United States Navy, or second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps, having the opportunity to either fly aircraft as a naval aviator, pilot or naval flight officer navigator like myself. They will also, or perhaps they might be driving ships as a surface warfare officer, commanding our finest nuclear submarine corps around the world. For those that like to roll around in the mud, perhaps one of them will be a Marine, flying helicopters, aircraft, or perhaps on the ground. And I'll wrap up here shortly, but also a special warfare group known as the Navy SEALs is also an option for them as well. So you make us proud every day, and thank you. So, Dylan, congratulations. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Petty Officer Rosario. I'm a logistics specialist in the United States Navy. I am part of the TAOC Florence. TAOC stands for Talent Acquisition and Onboarding Center. My job is a little bit different than a recruiter. I work with future sailors, so that means that they have sworn in into the delayed entry program, and I get them at that point. So my job is to mentor them, PT with them a lot, right? Some of my future sailors can attest to that. And then I just make sure that they're ready for boot camp pretty much. So I'm gonna be presenting to you some of our future sailors tonight. First one is Gabrielle Eppinghoff. Next up, Matthew Sareen. Logan Shaw. Next up, Joseph Trent. William Weisbrod. I'm going to try not to mess up this last name too much. Amy Borharfosh. Am I saying that right?
And Amy has earned a Navy ROTC scholarship.
That is off to the United States Navy. Thank you so much.
I'm going to pinch hit for the U.S. Coast Guard. Our last student to be recognized tonight, I believe, Reed Sizemore, U.S. Coast Guard. Congratulations again to all of our seniors, all 42. At this point, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Susanna Davis, Principal, Lakota East.
Good evening. As Mr. Miller stated, I am the very proud principal of Lakota East High School, and on behalf of the faculty, staff, and students at Lakota East, I am honored to be here tonight to recognize the commitment the students seated on stage have made to serve our nation. The young people seated before you share several fundamental values. They possess courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty, and unbelievable integrity. They have answered the call to be part of something bigger than themselves, and tonight we honor them. Thank you for answering the call to serve. Thank you to the family members and friends who are joining us tonight to celebrate these outstanding young adults. Your love, support, and encouragement have provided the backbone for these students to answer their call. As a school and community, we are here to support you as your child gives back to our country. And thank you to the veterans that are here joining us tonight. As Harry Truman said, our debt to the heroic men and valiant women in the service of our country can never be repaid. They have earned our undying gratitude. America will never forget their sacrifices. We are forever grateful for your sacrifices that you have made to protect our freedoms. Thank you for taking time to recognize the commitment of our next generation. It is my honor to introduce our next speaker. This young woman is a dedicated student, athlete, and leader. This is evident in the wide range of activities she has taken part in as a student at Lakota East, including National Honor Society, Relay for Life, Link Leader Peer Mentoring Group, Swim Team, and Sophomore Orientation Student Planning Committee. She has also taken steps to prepare herself for her future by pursuing opportunities rarely provided to a high school student. She has actively participated in summer experiences through the United States Military Academy as well as the United States Naval Academy, focusing on developing a strong background in leadership to afford her an outstanding foundation for future success in her desired studies of systems engineering with a business management focus. However, her passion is most evident when she is working on activities related to veterans. She gave a moving speech at our annual Veterans Day Assembly on the topic of service and sacrifice. Her words moved many in the audience to tears and left an indelible mark on our school. She is the founder and president of the Lakota East Veterans Network, a group that strives to create meaningful bonds between staff and students in our school and veterans in our community. When speaking of her passion for the military, she consistently speaks of her desire to utilize the multitude of skills she has attained to proudly serve her country. She has received an appointment to the United States Military Academy at West Point. It is my unbelievable honor and privilege to introduce Miss Grace Keith.
Good evening. Okay. My name is Grace Keith, and I'm a senior at Lakota East High School. It is my distinct honor to have been asked to speak to you tonight about my life and military aspirations. The United States Service Academies are the premier institutions for training leaders of character. Those leaders become officers who will lead the next generation of servicemen and women, defend our nation, serve our citizens, and ensure peace in our turbulent world. Without a doubt, our U.S. Service Academies prepare the nation's best and brightest young people to become our future leaders. I am a future military leader. I am hardwired to lead, to be a key contributor on a team, to live a life with purpose, and excel in all my pursuits without compromising my integrity. I am aware I am not a stereotypical teenager. As a young woman in my senior year of high school, I cannot remember a time when I didn't desire a military career. There is an overt contrast between me and most of the 2,000 other students I walk the halls with at Lakota East High School. I do not waver in my purpose, my passion, or my determination to achieve all I can become in the name of duty, honor, and country. The first half of my childhood was seemingly ideal. As the second-born alpha female, I grew up with an older brother and younger triplet siblings, 2 brothers and a sister. I was 6 years old when I told my mom I wanted to be a manager when I grew up. I did not know it then, but I have a natural aptitude to lead and navigate complex situations. My mom traded her career to be a full-time mother, and my engineer dad was my soccer coach and Sunday school teacher. However, the second half of my childhood was far from ideal, yet it was during this time I developed confidence and fortitude. I have firsthand experience managing the consequences of divorce, poverty, domestic violence, suicide, and terminal illness. While many of the people around me told me that those experiences I had been through were enough of a reason to give up and let life roll over me, it was my strong conviction in my values that allowed me to continue on this path that I know I am supposed to be on. My values of faith, family, loyalty, compassionate mercy, and good old-fashioned hard work have provided a foundation for me to lean on in the hard times and grow in the good times. I have learned I have an internal compass, and despite any pothole or detour in life's road, my compass will redirect my course back to those fundamental values. As I have grown up, I realize it's the military's values that first drew me to a career of service. I am able to easily identify with the military's values of duty, honor, country, and teamwork. Those same values are at the core of who I am and who I aspire to be. It will be those values that continually point me in the direction of a career as a military officer, despite whatever challenges may come. I am beyond excited to be able to say that I have received and accepted an appointment to the United States Military Academy. To begin my military career at an institution with like-minded peers, where we train together as a team to lead the next generation of soldiers, is a phenomenal opportunity with an equally balanced weight of responsibility that does not go overlooked. My passion is the military and will continue to be the military. Serving those who have served us is imperative to who I am as a person and who I want to be. This past year, I was lucky enough to harness that passion and start the Lakota East Veterans Network. Our goal is to connect students to veterans and veterans organizations in the community to support and promote military causes. In 1 year alone, our club had a school-wide 22 push-up challenge to raise awareness for veteran suicide. We partnered with Honor Flight to transport 200 students to CVG Airport in order to welcome home a flight of 100 veterans and guardians, put on the Veterans Day Assembly, collected items for stockings for soldiers, visited elementary and middle schools to collect cards and letters for veterans. We participated in Honor Flight's Mail Packing Day, and we raised $700 for local veterans organizations. And there are many more events to come as the year isn't even over. I know this club will continue to grow and gain momentum, serving those who have served us. I would like to take this moment to thank those who have gotten me to this moment. Everyone in my life who I've come into contact with has made me the woman I am today. There are too many to name, but you know who you are, and I'm so grateful for having you in my life and so thankful that I am standing where I am. I would like to especially thank my mom. She's been there for me through everything, even when it was hard, and I mean it got really hard. And she supported me in endeavors that ultimately allowed me to achieve my dream. I am honored to have the support of this great community behind me as I step into my future. Your support is irreplaceable, and I only hope that I will make you all proud. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Elgin Card. I am the very blessed principal of Lakota West High School. And I say blessed because I get up every day and get to work with young people like this and many others, get to make a difference in their lives, and it means a lot to me. And I get to work in a great community that supports Lakota schools. I want to say thank you to Lakota local schools for this event. As Mr. Miller said, this is one of the best events we have every year. I'd like to thank our parents because, understand, the kids at Lakota West know the first thing I always tell them is thank mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, because without them, none of this is possible. Or someone in your life has made that difference. So thank you to the parents and to our veterans and our active military. Being the son and a grandson of veterans, I understand what that means. One of my, I always tell kids, one of the biggest things I wish I missed, I haven't done a lot of great things in life, but never was able to serve. So I have such respect for those that did. The young man I'm going to introduce today is a young man who's known for a while he wanted to do this. He wanted to serve. And I talk to him about every day, even though I've never been able to say his last name until hopefully tonight. He is someone who has great character, and we talk about things all the time. He has started within our school, helped start the Patriotic Firebirds, which is a wonderful group. I see Miss Henley in the back who worked with him and some other students. And they're just there to send letters and do things to our veterans. They've done things on military appreciation days and things of that nature, which sometimes kids don't understand how important it is that they don't live or know a veteran or lived with anybody who's a veteran. So it's very important to make sure our young people understand the sacrifices that are being made and are going to be made by these folks for our country. So without further ado, I want to introduce Lakota West Firebird, David Germano-Zashvili.
Wow, he made me sound good. Thank you very much, everyone. And let me just say, wow, there are a lot of you here today. Now, I don't think many of you came because of my good looks, but it is really amazing to see all the support you give your family members. We thrive off of the support. It keeps us going through any hard times we have, such as the distance away from you. It's not that easy away from you guys. We love you very much. Now, we find motivation wherever we can. I went to basic with a best friend of mine that I had actually began hating, named Jeffrey Barger. We ended up being in the same platoon together. A lot of you prior service will understand that you don't like everyone, but we ended up loving each other. He kept my head together when I wasn't in the right headspace, and yet, even though he had no obligation to me. While on the home front, since I've been back from basic, adjusting to the certain mentality that they trained us to have has been rough, but I can't begin to thank my girlfriend, Judith West, for supporting me through it all. At times, it can be hard to deal with me as a teenage boy. I'm guessing we're all hard to deal with. It means a lot to us, especially if your loved ones haven't been to their first set of training. The Army and the Fly Guys call basic, or the Devil Dogs and Sailors call boot camp. It's just a tad bit more intense than summer camp. They need extra support to stay motivated for when they leave so that they never even begin to consider giving up on themselves or each other. To give you an insight on who I am, as a person, I'm Private First Class David Germano-Zashvili. I enlisted at the age of 17. The Army and National Guard allows this due to the Split Operations Program, which is a fancy Army way to say, instead of partying with my buddies the summer of my junior year, I got to go away and grow up and learn how to shave properly, because apparently the drill sergeants did not believe that I could do it properly. So I left for my 10 weeks, threw a couple grenades, jumped off a very high tower, did a lot of push-ups, and now I'm on track to graduate from Lakota West, where I was given the honor to help Mrs. Henley set up the Patriotic Firebirds, which is the Lakota West version of the club to give back to our military members. Mrs. Henley is just as much of a mom to me as anyone else, and she's the dear friend and role model that I need for my life. For her being a breast cancer survivor, the woman never lets anything in life put her down, and she continuously makes me feel at home at Lakota West. But then I leave again August 22nd back to good old Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri for my job training. Since I'm a combat engineer, it's just every boy's dream of getting paid to blow stuff up, right? I will be attending the University of Cincinnati main campus for the criminal justice program to try and become an FBI agent or SWAT for my local police department, helping clean up the area I grew up in to stay in good shape, regardless of where I end up. I do plan to continue excelling in the ranks through the Army, hopefully making staff sergeant and leading my own fire team. I try to lead my current brothers and sisters the best I can, striving to be the best, so that when the time comes, it will be like second nature. Without any hesitation, due to the saying I picked up from my drill sergeants that hesitation kills. I decided to enlist because I took a second look at my family's situation and realized no one in my immediate family was going anywhere. No one was going to do anything with their life. And then I realized no one else is going to make my life any better for me. No one else would take the first step to make something of myself for me. I've got to be the man I want to be and take action. Though this decision might not fit everyone's personality, I adopted this new life very easily. So I automatically knew this was the right path for me. While if I was someone different, I may not have adjusted so easily. Those making the military their last resort should really reconsider, especially since about 1/4 of upcoming adults, which is honestly just a fancy way to say juniors and seniors, are actually fit to serve. I don't want to take up too much time with my rambling, but I thank you for the time you've given me to speak today. I thank all those who I consider my big brothers for serving before I ever could. To all my upcoming brothers and sisters over there on that stage who are about to earn their title of Marine, Sailor, Airman, Soldier, stay motivated, stay dedicated, and never forget the reason why you first joined in the first place. If you ever have any questions regarding basic, feel free to ask me. I don't bite. I'm willing to tell you how it is. I want to help you, and this includes anyone in the audience that's still on the fence about enlisting. And to my current brothers and sisters, hooah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you, David. Wow. Before our last concluding event, I want to thank all of you for coming. I know that there will be some pictures on stage afterwards. I want to introduce now the Freedom Elementary students. They're going to close our ceremony by singing Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA. We can't end it any better than that. Thank you all. Good night.